Practice this story about a man going to work in the morning. This is the third installment of our story. The sentences are very natural English. I'm only emphasizing the stress and intonation to show how English is normally spoken.
Oh, good Lord, Mr. Black's crashed into the rear of a taxi.
We'll begin practicing at the end of our story, and then add more pieces until we come to the beginning. I will repeat each sentence 3 times and explain the techniques being used. Okay, here we go.
The rear of a taxi. The rear of a taxi. The rear of a taxi.
The emphasized words are rear and taxi. The other words are unstressed, spoken lightly and quickly. The 3 words rear of a are linked together. Rear of a, rear of a, rear of a taxi. Now, here's another piece of our picture, so we put both parts together.
Mr. Black's crashed into the rear of a taxi. Mr. Black's crashed into the rear of a taxi. Mr. Black's crashed into the rear of a taxi.
The content words are black and into. Long words will usually be stressed on only one syllable. In this example, we have into and taxi. The unstressed function words are Mr., crashed, and the. The 2 words crashed and into are easily connected like this. Crashed into, crashed into, crashed into the rear of a taxi. The final result sounds like this. Mr. Black's crashed into the rear of a taxi. Let's continue and add an exclamation.
Oh, good Lord, Mr. Black's crashed into the rear of a taxi. Oh, good Lord, Mr. Black's crashed into the rear of a taxi. Oh, good Lord, Mr. Black's crashed into the rear of a taxi.
The stressed words are oh and Lord. The word good is unstressed. Since there are no words beginning with a vowel, there are no linked words in this exclamation. Now, listen and practice these 2 sentences without breaking the rhythm. Practicing over and over again like this will help you to understand English spoken at normal speed.
Oh, good Lord, Mr. Black's crashed into the rear of a taxi.
Some people might say that my sentences sound odd and unnatural because I've been using a very regular stress. And not every sentence in English is like this. However, when we read for others, we do stress certain content words just like I have done in these examples. Listen to our story from the beginning, pictures A, B, and C. Every morning at about the same time, Mr. Black leaves for work. Here he's driving up out of the underground garage. Good morning, George, a neighbor calls out, but Mr. Black's not paying attention. He's checking his watch, afraid that he might be late. Oh, good Lord, Mr. Black's crashed into the rear of a taxi. The purpose of this exercise is to improve your listening comprehension and learn how to read and speak in a more pleasant and interesting way. Now, go on to the next picture. Picture D of our story. There are 10 parts in all. Thank you for watching and listening.